So today I'm going to introduce you to one of our dear family friends, Sonny Reighard. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his life. He's been born and raised in Appalachia, in the same area of Appalachia that I live in, just up the road a ways from me. I guess you're in the bigger mountains than I am, kind of, yeah.
You live up in Nantahala.
Yeah, bigger mountains than I am. But he's going to tell us a little bit about his life, growing up here and living here the rest of his life. I know he's got a lot of wisdom, and he's very humorous. So I know you're gonna like that part. He's a very fun person to be around. He likes to tease and tell jokes, so that's always fun. And we could start with, I heard you tell one time, I think it was my brother Paul said, we always called you Sonny Reighard, but then we heard that it might be Reighard, yeah. So which is it?
Yeah, my father, great-grandfather, they came over from Germany, and probably Reighard was the way they said it. We say Reighard. My brother lives in Atlanta. He's a preacher down there, and he was probably 12 or 13 years old, and he had a German teacher. And she had to spell his name, and she said, "You're not saying that right, it's Reighard." So we kid people if they can't say Reighard or Reighard. Don't feel bad. My brother's 12-year old before he could say it. You know, we kind of. But I tell them it's the difference in Reighard and Reighard's about 150 miles. So we're Reichards up here and Reichards down
Atlanta. Oh, that's funny.
Kind of like the Postels and the Postels.
Yeah, there's several.
Of course,
like
the Wilsons ain't one way. You say
only
Wilson.
one way you can say the Wilson. Yeah, there's a LaGuire, which is over in Robbinsville. We say LaGuire, but then I heard some people in Swain County, one of my friends, say Lukeguire. They say Lukeguire. And I said, well, I've never heard nobody say it like that. We say Lukeguire.
That's what we say.
Yeah. So you can start by telling us where were you born and about your mom and dad and your family.
Yeah, as far as I know, I was born right there at the house. I can look out my window and see where I was born. My dad. He worked construction work all his life, so they probably lived downstairs in a little store building my uncle owned, and so that's where I got my start back in 1942, February 20th. So that's been 80 years.
Wow.
80 years, and but we never really considered ourselves poor. We didn't have anything, nobody else did, but we were fine with it. Dad always worked construction, had a job, and so we never had a lot of problems with it. But I've thought a lot of time, 42, they bombed Pearl Harbor in December 41, and they were having kids, and the world was at war. The United States, declared war, and it was just a terrible time to be trying to raise a family.
Yeah.
Then when Dad was 27 years old, he was drafted into the service, and so he went in the Army and went to the Philippines. Never complained the first time, was proud to serve our country, and I was always proud of his military service.
Yeah.
Love our veterans.
Oh yeah.
We keep and sing around it. If there's anything we can do for the veterans, we always count it an honor.
Yeah.
Just get to be part of them. But we lived in Talkton, and my earliest part of music was my mom played old-time banjo, and my grandfather played the fiddle and banjo, and he called square dances, and it probably wasn't square dances like we know now. We didn't have they had no radio.
Yeah.
That was back in the 20s, no radio or anything else, so Mom learned to play the banjo with her, and her brothers picked guitars, and Dad, but mostly it was just on front porches.
Yeah.
When they done away with the front porches, they tore the families apart.
Yeah.
But
everybody went inside to the air conditioning and the TV. And
they had no radio then, and I know Mother told us stories. She used to sleep and get her dad's banjo down and learn to play it. Probably, he worked it out. I believe she said he gave $7 for it and worked it out to probably just an old plug of a banjo. I'd give anything to have it.
Yeah.
But somebody broke in and stole the fiddle and the banjo. So, when my grandfather got old and moved to Atlanta with Mom and Dad, but that's my earliest memories of a man. The thing in life that I have always hated, and I'd tell any young person, if your grandfather's alive or any of them, try to glean everything you can about their early life, because my grandfather won't tell me stories, and I was into Elvis Presley and stuff, you know, back in the late 50s. I wasn't real interested in his trying to tell me how he played the banjo and how he got in trouble, went out west, you know. It was, but now I would give me anything to
be able to
sit and listen to him.
Yeah. Did you have siblings?
Yeah, I had a sister older than me, and my mother and dad, they were planning on getting married, and my uncle had a daughter, his wife, and she was a legitimate child, and Mom and Dad decided to go ahead and get married, forego waiting, you know, their honeymoon or anything. Yeah. They went ahead and got married, and at 2 weeks old, they took my first cousin in and raised her. Oh. And she wrote and told, said, years later, said, my mother and dad, instead of them getting to go on a honeymoon, they had to listen to a baby cry and change diapers, dirty diapers. But and my first cousin, Ramona, she lived with us all her life, and she has brothers and sisters, and they had a good relationship. Yeah. But she always called mother and dad, you know, and she was always our sister. Yeah. And then I had a older sister, Judy. Yeah. And then I came along, and then they should have quit then, but they didn't. But they had Ike, my brother Ike, that preaches down in Piedmont Baptist Church in Atlanta. Yeah. He's got to meet people that I've never met. Hugh Kendrick used to be one of his church members, and he got to go to the White House and meet Mr. and Mrs. Bush, the older Bushes.
Wow.
But I probably wouldn't want to went and meet nobody like that. Yeah. I'm having a hard time talking just to you girls.
So Ramona, is that Ramona that played music for
No, she never played. Now, she wrote awful, some real good poems and poetry. We do some of their songs about Valley River.
Yeah,
well, her dad wrote it, and then she kind of writes poems from him. No, she never played any music, but now her brother, Buzz Matheson, they're up in Ohio. They have the Matheson family pride band, and they're extremely talented musicians. Yeah. Of course, they're getting old like me, and they're not going a whole lot now, but the kids are
starting to take it on. Yeah. So you said your daddy worked construction. Did he work like on any of the dam work?
He sure did. He worked on the Fontana Dam when they were building it. But he mostly worked at rock quarries, and so he worked in Murphy for the Hitchcock Corporation. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
I've heard Daddy talk about the Hitchcock.
They used to have mines in Murphy, but they had a little job different places. We lived in Pilot Mountain, Yagginsville, you know, little jobs Dad would go to. But whenever they moved back to, went to Atlanta for a job, it extended and extended, and so 30 years later, they're still, they were crushing there, but now they sold out to Vocal Material, and now they've got a big water system park, I believe. Yeah. Wow. It was right in Atlanta. So that's where we got to Atlanta.
How you got?
That's where I got all my accent.
So during that time, was your mom, she just kind of stayed home?
She stayed home, and always had a meal. They were 3 meals a day, people. Yeah. You got breakfast, you got dinner, and we called it supper, you know. And we always, but Mom kind of laid her music aside, but she did pick in her younger days with her dad and her brother and her boyfriends. Whenever they got boyfriends, they just left my grandpa sitting on the porch, and they went to play. But she played old time banjo, and she played a style of a uppick and strum and thumb, but she didn't know a chord. She noted everything she played, and she played in a different tune. She'd tune that thing, and she had no idea what she was going in. They had names for it, the sawmill key, which may be a double C, and I can't say the other chord because it wasn't real nice. It was it's a bad chord, but she knew what to get in when they said to get in.
That's amazing. That's like where there's a will, there's a way. So she really wanted to play, so she just figured out what worked for her.
She said they would play back then, no radio, like I said, but they'd practice on Friday night, and her brothers and cousin, and said people would come up the railroad track. They lived right around the railroad track, and would sit on the other side and listen to them. I guess no entertainment. That was probably pretty good entertainment.
Oh yeah.
And then so they'd quit about 10, 11 o'clock, 10:30, and so you'd see them light their lanterns and head back to their homes up and down the railroad track. But she had a doggone good lick on that banjo, and when I got 40-year-old, I decided I was going to learn that, and David Brose tried to learn that.
Yeah.
What was the guy's name down here that worked in the fire department, was such a good musician?
J.D.
Robinson.
Yeah.
J.D. kind of learned me the up lick that Mom did, and then David he went down with it. He was learning me that downstroke, but I got into, whenever I got married, I got into church and got in more to the gospel music.
Yeah.
We still on?
Yeah.
Yeah, I went into playing in church, gospel music.
Yeah.
And really didn't care too much about secular music, I guess.
Right.
It was mostly gospel music.
Yeah.
But then when I got about 40, I wanted to learn Mom's style, and so I wanted to keep music alive.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I can still sing gospel, and we sing songs about going fishing, cluck old hen. I mean, stuff that's good.
Right, yeah.
So I wanted to kind of keep it alive in my part of the family.
Yeah.
And one of the things I've enjoyed a lot, when my grandson came along, he was 12, he came and lived with us. And I had an old bass guitar, and he just picked it up and went to playing.
Yeah.
So easy, and so I showed him a chord or two on I had no Gibson guitar, showed him a chord or two on it, and then J.D. was giving, Robinson was giving lessons at the school in Andrews.
Yeah.
And I took him, and I thought, J.D. give him a lesson, I'd listen, I'd say, man, he ain't learned it. He'll never learn it. He just said, if you can count to 8, you can play a banjo. And I think, well, I can count to 8. But you know, J.D. Worked with them about a month, and one day we were sitting on the porch, and he just took off on Cripple Creek with a three-finger style. And he has made an excellent banjo player. Yeah. Maybe sometime we get with it.
Yeah,
Paul got
we'd
to pick a
love
little.
to. Yeah, Paul told us he was really impressed.
But he did real good, and on the guitar too. But I guess the biggest part of my music was gospel music.
Yeah.
I love going to the church, especially benefits.
Yeah, help people out. So in those days when you were young, did y'all have a big garden? You grew a garden every year?
Yeah, we had a garden on the hillside. Mother always tell them we just had to dig the bottom row, and the rest of them would just fall in. You know,
that was steep. Yeah.
Just a small garden we had, and I remember Mom. We didn't have electricity. And I told some folks, kids at school, they said, what'd you do about cell phones? I said, Lord, we hadn't even thought of a cell phone. Yeah. And we had to ride to Andrews, which was 10 miles from where we lived, to make a phone call. Yeah. But now they did, our uncle, great uncle, had a little store in Topton, but he did, when he was there, he had a little crank-up phone.
Yeah.
I remember we were about 6 years old, we walked up and Mom and Dad was off working, and they called Dad where he was working out around Pilot Mountain, and we got to talk to Dad on the phone. I could not imagine.
Yeah,
he wasn't in that phone. I could hear it.
Oh, that's amazing.
No electricity. I believe electricity came up through there, and I was born in 42, about 48.
Yeah.
We had the wood cook stove, and we did have a wood stove, but Dad worked and they got coal. They'd bring coal in and dump that, and we'd put it in the basement.
Yeah.
I kidded them, told them I thought my name was Go Get Coal till I was in second and third grade.
Yeah, I've heard that about get wood or water. Yeah, both of those.
And we didn't have water running in the house at that time, but when I was born, when we moved from, we were in Cherokee County when I was born, then we moved just across the mountain to Topton, which is about a mile. And Dad put in a little water reservoir, and we had running water, and we had 2 rooms in the path. We didn't have a bathroom. Outhouses out on the hillside, so we would, Dad put water in the house, and I remember it was probably in the early 50s they put a bathroom in the house. So we had that sure was nice not having to go out
I bet.
in February and March.
Oh gosh, yeah, I bet. So once you were, I guess, where did you go to high school at? Robbinsville or
I went
Acorn?
when I went to grammar school, of course we went around. We went to school in Agginville and then Pilot Mountain, and then we came back to Andrews, and in the 5th grade, when I went in the 6th, we moved to Atlanta, and so I went to school in Atlanta there, and that's kind of where Mom got to picking more on her banjo. She kind of just laid it up. Dad bought her a little second-hand banjo, I guess. And then whenever I got in my 2nd or 3rd year of the 10th grade, they decided they better send me to Nantahala where I could get. So I got to leave school in Atlanta, had 1400 in high school. Okay. And go to Nantahala. They had 200 in the whole school. And it was a blessing. I lived with my aunt and uncle, and she was a church goer. She had no piano. She played the old chords. It was real.
I love that style.
I do too. And she Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, revival nights, you went to church. I mean, there wasn't no we were going. And we enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad she did. But I finished school at Nantahala, graduated. And met my wife there, and she was a preacher's daughter. So the only place we could date was church. So we had to go to church. But then after we got married, I went to church. Well, we was cottage prayer meeting. We'd go into people's homes. And Carl Roper, preacher up there, saved bootlegger. He sold alcohol for years, but he got saved, and boy, he made a great preacher. He preached one night, and Lord spoke to my heart. I needed to be saved, so I went down and asked him to come into my heart. And best thing I ever did in life.
That's wonderful.
But we had a small garden. It wasn't nothing big. And I tell you this, most people probably never knew. Most of the roads had pretty wide sides. They didn't have the guardrails up now. Mom, we didn't have a pasture for the cow to graze. It had a small. She would take that cow and walk up the road. There's a wider place on the side, and she would stake that cow, or tie it around her waist, wouldn't let it graze. And her first cousin, little Weldon West, was a preacher. Humorous, loved Weldon West. He told her one time, said, if I had a cow that skinny, I wouldn't put it on the road and be with it. I wouldn't want nobody to know I had one that looked like that. He was a self-taught veterinarian, and he did all that work for the people for nothing, I guess.
Well, when you when you come back to Nantahala and you ended up staying here, what did you go into construction, or what did you do? When I was dating, I tried to lizard hunt for a living, but you don't catch me lizard in February. So we followed constructions, run a pan, a dozer, and still in construction today. But that's kind of what we did. Wife, she worked at plants, and then she started just staying at home with the kids. We had 3, and so, when I was 7, I'm pretty sure it's 7. Of course, we're in the 1st grade. Didn't have kindergarten, and Mom ordered me a guitar out of a Sears and Roebuck catalog, and I remember we walked about a mile and a half to the post office. We'd walk up there every evening thinking it was going to come, and I couldn't wait to get that guitar. I thought of that guitar, and when it come, it's in a square box, I guess. I was so disappointed. It didn't even look like a guitar. But when we took it out of the box, I had no idea. But I didn't keep the guitar. We used to have, and Mom knew one chord. She could catch a old-timey G, I call it, and she knew just a few words to Cumberland Gap, and
that was my guitar training, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So from then on, did you kind of keep playing?
I tried to, but when I went to Atlanta, I had a buddy who was 2 years younger than I was, and he could just go all over that guitar. Yeah. But I didn't have that talent. I tried and tried, and I just couldn't do it. So I probably improvised. I learned 3 chords, and that was about it. And just sang.
Yeah. Yeah.
I watch these kids today. I'm amazed.
Oh yeah.
The talent they are. I mean,
yeah.
7, 8, 9-year-old kids. It's
yeah. So I know I've seen you and your wife sing together. So did she already kind of sing in church? And
she sang in church.
Yeah.
Some of the best harmony. I love harmony.
Yeah.
Love harmony. The best harmony I ever heard, I believe, was after church on Sunday, and we'd eat the dinner at my father-in-law's house. She had. There's 4 of the girls and their mother. They get in there washing dishes.
Yeah.
And of course, her mother had no wood cook stove too at that time. Yeah. And they would sing.
Yeah.
So I believe the best harmony I ever heard.
Wow.
You know,
yeah. Makes you wish you had a recording of it. Yeah. Yeah.
But her father, he pastored churches over in Hayesville. Pastored Shiloh. When we got married, he pastored Shiloh, and then Piney Grove.
Okay.
Used to, the preacher sometimes pastored 2 churches.
Yeah.
One first and third Sundays, another one second and fourth.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, mostly the garden work I tried to leave to my wife. I didn't want to mess it up, you know, and cut down her.
Yeah. Yeah. Does she like to garden and put up? And
she did. She puts up. Yeah. She usually, of course, her health's gone down now. We usually put up about 100 cans of green beans.
Yeah. Yeah.
She likes the green beans.
Yeah. Yeah. Mama does too.
But yeah, when I got up a little age on me and started picking the guitar a little, I got to go with a gospel group, the Smoky Mountain Singers.
Yeah.
Not the boys, the singers. That's older ladies, Elvie and Dugan Postel. Yeah. And I enjoyed that, but then I just started playing more at the church.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I got a chance to go with the New Hope Quartet, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then later on, we got a little group out to church, Rollins Creek Quartet.
Yeah.
Then I got to play some with old Desmond Parker, old Fiddling Dez, and Junior Blaylock. Played mandolin. And we picked with them with the Valley River Boys.
Yeah.
And, we enjoyed that.
Yeah. I used to get to see you at the folk school. You'd come to the festival every year with, that's when you said Ramona, that's who I thought.
Roberta.
That was Roberta.
Roberta,
yeah. Okay.
Roberta,
yeah.
You know, Roberta Bull, her and Furman,
yeah.
he ended up getting married. Furman, what, 69? He was way up the years, never been married. Furman, he was a wonderful guitar picker. Oh, kind of like Maybelle Carter.
Yeah, yeah.
And Roberta was that good banjo picker. We went with Roberta probably about 7 or 8 years over there, and I always enjoyed it. Went with her till they passed away.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, I think one time I heard one of the years I was there that she had been at every one they'd ever had. That she'd always been there.
She passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a good banjo picker. I couldn't learn her style. I tried to imitate her, but I couldn't. Different style.
One time I remember, because Daddy just was crazy about you.
And we loved the Wilson.
Yeah. But he would always say that, I mean, y'all were anybody you were playing with, it was always good music. But the best part was you, because you were a natural entertainer, that you could really entertain people with your little jokes and your open personality and all that. But I remember one time you told me that your mother was like that she would just have a little joke or something to tell people. She would
always tell a joke.
Yeah.
The worst joke she ever pulled on me, I was 12 when we moved to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And I got struck on a little girl down the street. I can't remember her name now, but you know, then, and I came in one day from school and she said, called that little girl's name, said, she called, I want to know if you want to go, she's having a party tonight. I said, gosh, yeah. She said, well, call her if you did. And I ran there and dialed her number. And I said, yeah, I'll go. She said, where? I said, that party. She said, what party? I looked around my mom and said, April Fool.
Oh, gosh.
Had it pulled on me all day at school.
Yeah,
You know, he'd
yeah.
come in there, she'd pull it on me again. She loved to do stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, Mom always had a little joke we'd tell. If she heard it on somebody else, she'd want to tell it on herself, you know. So we enjoyed.
One of my favorite ones that you told, and I don't know if you can remember it, and I can't remember exactly how it goes, but you were at you and your wife, and was it her sister probably playing at the community center at Martins Creek?
Yeah, that was Janine Wilson. She's one of them Wilson
Yeah,
girls.
one of all Wilson girls. But you were talking about how on your trip from Andrews to Martins Creek about the red lights that they kept going. You remember that one?
Yeah, I told them I got in the back seat and we was going to practice song going over, and we went through a red light, and I looked and that red light was red. You know, we're getting older. And I thought, well, I'm sure that light was red. So we went on to the next red light and right through it again. And I said, Janine, I said, you run a red light. She said, oh my Lord, am I driving? That was one of them little corny.
Yeah, that was funny
corny
though.
jokes.
I remember everybody laughed, but I really, really liked that one. You have a good delivery though,
I
like
always
Daddy
like
said.
to tell them on them. I used to tell one on my wife. We picked with Carolina Bluegrass Boys.
Yeah.
Bill Pruitt, y'all know
Yeah.
Bill? Wonderful banjo
Yeah.
player. And, the joke was, I was going to say, Bill, I'm going to leave my wife. And he said, leave Margaret? How come? And I said, well, she's not spoke to me in 6 months. And the joke was, son, you better keep her. A woman like that's hard to find. You know,
Yeah.
kind of putting you women down.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so I got up and I said, Bill, I'm going to leave Margaret. There's probably 1,000 people there over
Yeah.
at Townsend, Tennessee.
Yeah.
And before he could say anything, some man out in the audience hollered and said, I'll take her. I never even finished the joke. My wife always laughed. Said, he never told that joke again. About 3 years later, one of the dancers from down in Canton, Georgia,
Yeah.
he said, you remember telling that joke on your wife? I said, yeah, that's somebody. He said, I was the one that hollered at.
He stole your punchline.
Yeah, he got
didn't
it.
he?
I'd
Yeah.
rather have him broke off on me as, you know.
Yeah, that's funny though. Life is more fun when you tease.
Yeah, and you know,
Yeah.
I was watching Ralph Emery one time, and I had a guy on there. He was the funniest guy. I mean, just little dry joke, kind of joke. And he said one thing I found: so when somebody's laughing, they're not worrying.
Yeah.
And I think, well, shit. He said, if I can make them laugh for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
I'm taking maybe a worry off of their mind.
Right.
Because everybody's got problems.
Oh gosh.
I don't
yeah.
know a family that's not got cancer. Don't know many families that don't have something with drugs that's
Right.
got in their families. Or
Yeah.
people are hurting.
Yeah. Yeah.
hurting.
Yeah.
So if you can make them laugh
Right.
just for a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. So you embody two of my favorite things to help my worries is the laugh and, like you said, and then the music.
Yeah,
good
yeah,
music.
those two. Yeah, they'll.
Yeah.
Mom always said
Yeah.
people that played music live longer. I don't know. Of course, she was 95 when she passed away. So.
Well, maybe there's something
But
to
Dad didn't pick any, and he was 95 too. So.
Maybe he just absorbed it all. Yeah.
He did. He would listen to Mom. She can make that banjos blow like a train.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Dad bought her one back in the 60s.
Yeah.
If she would learn him to blow that train. He never did learn it. He
Yeah.
tried, and
Yeah.
I would make him little notes how to try to pick, like I'll fly away, real
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
And every once in a while he could get 2 or 3 of them together,
Yeah.
but most it's something he enjoyed, especially after Mom died. She died at 95, and she was about 6 years older than he
Yeah.
was. So he had about 6 years by himself, and
Yeah.
he called and he said, now where'd you say put your finger on that? But he really wasn't musically
Yeah.
inclined, I guess.
Yeah. Did him and her, they stayed in Atlanta. When you come
Yeah.
back, they stayed.
Yeah, they had worked for the Hitchcock Corporation in, probably 30 years.
Okay.
Then they bought a little rock quarry and set it up in Dallas, Georgia.
Okay.
Dad bought a little farm in Dallas, Georgia, out on Willow Springs
Yeah.
Highway.
Yeah.
They give $14,500 for the house and 50 acres.
Oh wow.
And Mom looked at it and said, boy, you messed up this time. We'll never get our money out of this. And you know now,
Yeah.
an acre probably sell for
Oh gosh.
twice
Yeah.
that.
You couldn't. Yeah.
But she was real disappointed to move out. She liked Atlanta.
Yeah.
She could, 2 minutes she was at a store, you know,
Yeah.
anywhere she wanted to go.
Handy
But
yeah.
they loved Dallas, Georgia after they got settled in, and they had a lot of little churches like we have in North Carolina. And they got to meet a lot of the singers, and we got to meet a lot of them, and they'd come up here and sing, and we went down there, and her banjo picking kind of picked up when I guess in the 60s and 70s, and I got more interested in it, and when I got to pick a little, I got to work at the pick with it. I found out old people cut corners that play by themselves. They don't give the full lick. So if you're following and getting the full lick, well, they're way ahead of you, and you're trying to where am I at? But after I kind of got to playing a little with her, and where she cut the corners, I could go on guitar. It kind of sounded fairly decent. And when she was 85 or 89, we went and did a little tape of her telling some of her old stories, and she played some on the banjo. And the only thing I hated, we got some more boys to come in and put fiddles and a mandolin on it. I wish we'd left it like it was, just the banjo
with her,
talking. But she loved her music.
That's wonderful.
And I'll tell you, it's been good for me. I wasn't much of a ball player. But I noticed a lot of the ball players that played back when I did, they're having knee operations, hip operations, and they wore out.
It's not as hard on you.
But with the guitar, you know how you might get a string fly up and hit you every once in a while. But
well, thank you so much, Sonny.
Well, I've enjoyed it. I've looked forward to this. Paul said that sometime or other you said you might get us to come down. And, but I do want to say before we get through, we got to pick with your daughters. I may see them pick, see them dance mostly when they were about 11 and 12. And I always kid them, said, my wife, who's about my age, and the other lady's about my age, I'd tell them, I say, these girls are getting old. I need somebody young to pick with me, and I can see their eyes are dancing. And they're thinking, y'all, this guy's old too. But we love them since they were about 11 or 12, and I don't know, what are they now, about 40? They're not much older than that now, but we always loved being with them. And I did get to introduce them one time. They may not remember it, over at Stickoe Valley Center.
I remember that.
I got to tell a little tale on them, I guess.
We liked to play at Stickoe.
We did too. That was always a treat.
Always made us feel like we were somebody important over there.
They did, didn't they? They really pushed the Appalachian music, the jam
they do
program.
a good job. They do. Well, I do have one more question for you though. Since you spent your life in Appalachia, when you think about celebrating Appalachia, what do you think's worth celebrating? What parts of it?
I would say the music and, man, just our old mountain heritage. I hate to see it come in and change so bad, and I know they got to be changed. But boy, you hate to see it come in and change, really. But I would say keeping the old mountain music, mountain values. Dad always taught us, boy, you be honest. Tell the truth. I try to, but I like to lie once while you get a joke in or something. But he did that, and Mom was too. They were real simple, but they instilled value. They didn't preach it to us, but
they lived it in front of us.
They lived it by example, and so we got it from them. And, Lord, Mom left us so many old sayings that we'll think of one every once in a while. I call my sister in Florida, and I say, hey, you remember Mom saying this? She said, one of her sayings real quick
go ahead.
Was we'd do something real stiff. She'd say, Mal, it said, your brains ain't as big as a pea. And we grew up thinking our brain is not very big, and my sister went to work at a hospital in Atlanta, and part of their work was when somebody died, they had to do an autopsy on them. And so they had to open the head up, and they was showing them, said, this is the brain. And she said, she looked at that brain and said, all she could think of, what a smart man. Because we thought ours was. But it's just saying that she had. I wish I'd had a book on just little things that she said, did.
I know.
But we've let them years go by. Hey, if you're out there and you're young and grandparents around, try to glean all you can from
Yeah,
them.
yeah, and write it
You
down
do.
because you'll forget it too.
Yeah,
Write
one
it
day
down.
you'll think, golly, man, I remember them saying this.
Yeah, write it
But
down.
it was always an honor to get to be around the Wilson family, Presley family.
Well, we felt like that about you.
Because those days, a lot of those days are gone. You know, we
Yeah.
can't get together like we did.
Right, yeah. Well, I hope that you enjoyed Sonny as much as we do. And if you look in the description below, he's been making some great music with Paul. So I'll put all those links so you can jump over there and hear some of that wonderful music. And then today, after we leave you here, Corey and Sonny's going to play some music. So I'm sure that will be showing up on the Presley Girls channel. So you can be on the lookout for that.